Well, there are a number of reports I want to bring to you in a few minutes that I have. And the first one is that the MI6 chief strike on Iran likely by 2014. And this is interesting. Sir John Sawyers, the head of MI6 British spy agency, said that Iran is likely to obtain a nuclear weapon by 2014, making an Israeli or American strike on the Islamic Republic more likely by then, the Daily Telegraph reported on Friday. The Iranians are determinedly going down a path to master all aspects of nuclear weapons, all the technologies they need. The spy chief is quoted as saying, it's equally clear that Israel and the United States would face huge dangers if Iran were to become a nuclear weapons state. So I guess it doesn't look like there's going to be an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities anytime soon, according to his estimations anyway. And I have to agree with his expert opinion. And the reason why I do is basically because of this next article that I have been reading, and that is because experts, U.S. cyber war on Iran has just begun. The United States has been involved, and probably Israel as well, has been involved in an extensive cyber war against Iran's nuclear program for many, many years, and it has been the foundation of why they have not, or at least what I believe is why they have not attacked Iran to this point. And here's what the article says. The U.S. cyber war against Iran's nuclear program may have only just begun and could escalate with explosions triggered by digital sabotage, experts told AFP on Friday. Although the Iranian regime remains vulnerable to more cyber attacks in the aftermath of the Stuxnet worm that disrupted its uranium enrichment work, Tehran may be receiving help from Russian proxies for its digital security, some analysts said. According to David Albright, president of the Institute for Science and International Security, the Islamic Republic's nuclear program is really not that well protected from more digital assaults, and Iran will be hard pressed to safeguard its uranium enrichment efforts from tainted software. With Stuxnet, they lost about a year, and it caused a lot of confusion. They really didn't know what hit them, Albright told AFP. It looks like a viable way to disrupt their program. The United States, which reportedly masterminded the Stuxnet operation along with Israel, has every incentive to press ahead with the cyber campaign to undermine Iran's atomic ambitions, according to analysts. The next cyber attack, possibly in combination with more traditional spycraft, could shut off valves or issue incorrect orders that might cause an explosion at a sensitive site. I think that it could get more violent, Albright told AFP. I would expect more facilities to blow up. There is, of course, the possibility of sending in a team to modify a system in a way that would make it vulnerable, and then use a cyber weapon at a later date as a trigger event, said David Lindahl, a research engineer at the Swedish Defense Research Agency. A new wave of cyber attacks could involve inserting hardware with infected chips into the industrial process, possibly through an agent or a duped employee, or penetrating diagnostic software used to gauge uranium enrichment or other work, Lindahl told AFP. Some cybersecurity experts suspect Russian proxies could be assisting Iran with its digital defenses and possibly help Tehran trace the origins of Stuxnet. The Iranians never would have figured this out on their own, he added. The elaborate Stuxnet malware, which was reportedly introduced using a thumb drive, contained malicious code that caused centrifuges used to enrich uranium to spin out of control. The worm, meanwhile, sent back signals to operators indicating the centrifuges were operating normally. After the malware was discovered in 2010, at least 1,000 centrifuges had been removed, and analysts estimate Tehran's program was set back by at least a year. AFP noted that U.S. officials clearly view the risk associated with digital strikes as dwarfed by the dangers of an all-out war with Iran. Bombing raids are more likely to explode the region and certainly could lead to a conflict with Iran, and that would be very messy, said Lewis. Cyber is much more cleaner. Another sophisticated computer virus, Flame, struck Iranian computer systems in May. The virus collected critical intelligence in preparation for cyber sabotage attacks aimed at slowing Iran's ability to develop a nuclear weapon. Iran admitted that its oil industry was briefly affected by Flame, but claimed that Iranian experts had detected and defeated the virus. Well, I have to believe that this is probably going to be the gateway in which the U.S. and Israel will use in order to defeat or at least prolong the time it's going to take for Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. I do not foresee them attacking Iran unless it becomes critically necessary. And I believe that will only be the case if the cyber war becomes ineffective over the long run. So even though you may hear the war drums being beaten by Israeli officials and others, look for the U.S. and Israel to mainly rely upon the cyber war that they will be waging against Iran over the next months and years to come. Like I said, it's probably I don't foresee that changing unless unless Iran is able to lock down their nuclear system and prevent any infiltration by computer experts here in the U.S. and in Israel. And certainly with the help of Russia, that very well could come to pass. Russia has some of the finest cybersecurity experts in the world, so you can't really count this out that they very well could lock the system down. Now let's move to another hot spot in the Middle East, Syria. According to a rebel military commander for the Free Syrian Army, evidently he is reporting that there are preparations underway for a major battle for Damascus to take place at any moment. And I'll pick the article up toward the end. It says Syrian National Council member Bashar al-Haraki told Ashrik al-Aswat that the decisive battle for Damascus is fast approaching. He said the FSA has been preparing for this battle for some time now, and the best example of this can be seen in the military operations that have taken place in the capital, in addition to the FSA's presence in Damascus and surrounding areas. Al-Haraki added that the FSA's previous capabilities did not allow for it to initiate the battle for Damascus, but today, following the development of its operations, its targeting of sites in Damascus, and its acquisition of more weapons, we can say that the FSA is ready for this battle. He also stressed that the situation is approaching the end game and there is no need to wait for countries to fulfill their pledges to arm the FSA, as the FSA is prepared to fight the battle now. He added the regime's forces that are stationed throughout the country are exhausted and fragmented, and this has forced even those surrounding the presidential palace to be deployed in operations outside of Damascus, not to mention the escalating pace of defections across the entire military spectrum and including senior officers. It is worth noting that the military battles between the FSA and the al-Assad regime's forces have escalated significantly over the past 2 weeks, with confrontations taking place within the Syrian capital itself. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights revealed that violent clashes broke out in the Damascus districts of Kobani, Qudsiya, and Dumar last week between the FSA and the Republican Guards, just 8 kilometers from Umayyad Square in the center of the city. Security in Damascus has been significantly tightened. particularly around government headquarters and the presidential palace. Media reports also claim that the Syrian opposition is preparing to assault Damascus with the objective of confronting and toppling the al-Assad regime. Reports claim that the FSA is preparing to besiege the Syrian capital with a total of 30,000 troops. One source told the media that meetings were being held in Turkey between the FSA leadership and the Arab and Western military and intelligence apparatuses to discuss the logistics and details with regards to taking the battle to the heart of Damascus. Well, if this report is actually true, this could very well explain the reason why Assad is moving his chemical weapons stocks to other areas, and it could also lead to the use of chemical weapons against his own people or against the invading army that will attempt to take the city of Damascus. If indeed Assad is in desperation mode, he may feel as though the use of chemical weapons may be his only hope for him to stay in power. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, and if this war actually does, or this, should I say, the war for the capital does take place, and this does turn out to be his last stand. This is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.